radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Well, good evening. How you doing? How you doing? It's Fade to Black. I'm Jimmy Church. Today is Tuesday, November 18th, 2025, a day that will go down in infamy. That's right. Yeah, in case you didn't hear it, the House has overwhelmingly approved the release of the Epstein files today. Congress did it earlier. The Senate did it unanimously this afternoon. And that's where we are right now. Don't do politics on the show, but and I don't think that this is a political thing. It's not a partisan thing. So it needs to happen, and it appears that it is. All right. What are the other updates before we get into the show? Great week on the show, by the way. It didn't rain today. Yeah, well, it rained a little bit. And the streets are dry. Sidewalks are dry for the first time in a week. But there's another side to this, which is it's going to start raining again tonight and will continue throughout the week. Yeah, Harley withdrawal, like for real. Renee sent me an email today. She said, Jimmy, you said on the show that it rained a foot in Palmdale. I did not, Renee. I did not. I said Los Angeles. Yeah, we got less rain here in Palmdale. Still a lot, 3 inches or something like that. And yeah, Renee, always busting my chops. She's so good. She keeps me in check. But she doesn't listen closely all the time. 99% of the time. She is absolutely 100% correct. All right. Great week on Fade to Black. Last night, Callum Cooper was with us. Also, last night, Callum was live from the UK. That's right. And so is tonight's guest. Nicola Farmer joins us. She's amazing, and she runs and is the founder of the ICU Academy. So we're going to be talking about all of that and her work and the psychic abilities. That's right. The parapsychology, the psi abilities in children. And so we're going to jump into that tonight and her work and other stuff too as well, because she comes from England where all the cool stuff goes down. So we'll be talking about that. Tomorrow night, Masadi is here. And tomorrow night's going to be the near-death experience, and we're going to go through all of that from top to bottom tomorrow night. Deep dive into the NDE. And then Thursday night, Julia Mossbridge is back with us, neuroscientist, and we're going to be talking about her new book and disclosure. The book is called The Disclosure Process. And that is Thursday night. So we have a great week coming up on the show. My next event coming up is in February, the Conscious Life Expo. And that is February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. Just go to consciouslifeexpo.com for tickets and information and everything that you need to know. All right. Let's get tonight's show started. Nicola Farmer is here. We're going to be talking about the ICU Academy, where she helps children develop intuitive abilities and learn to see beyond the physical senses, something that I talk about a lot on this show. It is absolutely amazing. And, seeing more with their eyes can see, which are her books, and The Magical Light of Liora. Not only those subjects, but for me, because that's the stuff that we see forward looking into this. But are we all born with this? And then do we lose these abilities as we start to become an adult, right? Because we don't know, we don't practice it. Nobody's out there to guide us through this. And she also has, we're going to introduce the School of Luminosity, the SOL. So we're going to do that tonight too, as well. She's an internationally acclaimed spiritual mentor. She's a psychic, spirit, and trance medium. She's a healer and consciousness teacher. And she has been on everything, which includes Netflix and Gaia TV and international documentaries. Her links are below on our website and throughout social media. I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Nicola Farmer. She's right there, live from the UK. Right.
Good evening.
How you doing? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, considering it's 3 a.m.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Tap on your mic. Yeah. Okay. Just checking. Just checking. Bring it a little closer to you, if you could.
It's literally
okay. Well, everything is fine. Okay, moving on. There's no reason to spend any time on this. Nicola, let's get the first-time guest disclaimer out of the way, which is this, so we can start the show. The next time you're on with us, you don't get the first-time guest disclaimer, but you get it now, which is Nicola, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends, and where that conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we're going to end as friends. All right, now you have to accept.
I fully accept.
All right. I have to do one thing here really quick, if you don't mind. Right before showtime, the dreaded we must restart your computer thing happened. Yeah. Oh. And it was just like, okay, here we go. So I just got to kind of redo things here just a little bit. You just heard my intro on the show, and I have such a huge interest in this. First off, I'm a parent, right? And I looked at my daughters closely as they were growing up for a few things. As a parent, I wanted somebody to come into the living room and say, so what are you doing, honey? I'm talking with my secret friend. We're having tea. My invisible friend is here. I never got that. I was so looking forward to that day. I never did. I never had tea with their invisible friends. I never got that out of the way. But as we start this discussion tonight, let's do it here. Is everybody born with these abilities, and do they fade away over time?
Yeah, everybody's born with them, Jimmy. It's a natural part of human consciousness, and we see it in so many children, especially today, because they're just coming in with, full disclosure, they're coming in with, past life memories. But every child is born with those abilities, and it is lost over time because of the interaction with the left brain. So as soon as they start education and the left brain is stimulated to think perceptually, then that's when these natural abilities start to fade.
And would they not fade if somebody was there to teach?
Absolutely, yeah. Yep. As you introduce the ICU Academy, we find that the children who go through the program seem to be keeping these abilities for sure.
Yeah, there's some rumbling going on. I don't know if you're moving stuff around on your desk with your microphone. Wow, where's that coming from?
No.
Huh. Are you guys hearing that? That's weird. It's not coming from me.
I can't hear it.
Okay. Keep your hand still. Let's do that. No matter what you're doing.
I'm frozen.
Yeah, it can be louder than your voice. So yeah, they're saying that they hear it. Okay, so it's not me. Yes, low frequency rumble. Yeah, just keep your hand still. Okay. I think that when I look back at my own childhood, that there were definite signs and things that I didn't recognize as a kid that were certainly paranormal. There were things that were going on, and it was right there. But you're a kid, and your imagination is running around. As an adult, when I look back, wow, I was right there. But even though I had my crazy mom, I was kind of left to my own as a kid and out doing my own thing. But I see it in myself. Do you think that parents or adults today can look back at their childhood and go, you know what? I might have had something going on. I wish I would have changed things.
Yeah, I have it myself. I look back now and when I was younger, things that would happen in the house, and it would be put down to dreaming or something utterly ridiculous. But yeah, a lot of parents can look back, or a lot of adults can look back and literally see those things now because they're in everyday awareness.
Right. Well, and today, right? You're a medium, you're a psychic, you deal with sight, right? All of these things. With you, how did you start to develop these, and have you always had them?
Well, like I said, we all have them from a child, but mine sort of faded to a degree through my adulthood. But 20 years ago, I started to have dreams with my sister. My sister died when we were younger, and she appeared to me in these dreams. And I knew they weren't just dreams because we were talking about things that had happened after she died, and she was bringing them up as well. So, yeah, it began with the dreams with Sarah. And
what was she saying?
so we were talking after she died, and I started to train as a competitive swimmer. And in these dreams, she'd come to me and she'd say, I used to watch you when you were swimming in certain places, and it was just remarkable that she could talk to me about the things that had happened after she died. She was talking about my new grandson that was coming, and he was born a year later. It was incredible.
And what does that tell you?
It tells me there's a greater thing out there than the human mind, for sure.
Was that the turning point for you? I mean,
Yeah.
I ask everybody to think about and consider one thing, and that is what happened when you went, somebody's lying to me about this world, right?
Oh.
For you, what was that moment?
Oh, that was in school.
What happened?
So I went to a Catholic convent school, and religion was obviously a very big part of the education in that type of schooling. And I questioned everything in the religious classes, everything. And and at that point, they told me not to come back to the classes anymore. I could have a free lesson when they were doing the religious teachings. So that was the very, very first step. And then the second step was the dreams.
I had something very similar when I was a kid. First grade, might have been kindergarten, but first grade, going to this Catholic school in Chicago, which is, it's all Catholic there. And we would go to the library, and now this was in the 60s, and they would, I'm much older than I look, before you say, wow, 60s, you're not that old. I am. But you would put on headphones and you would listen to a story or an instruction. It was always religious based. And I remember I was listening to this story about, now I'm going to offend a bunch of people, but I'm listening to the story of Moses floating down the Nile River and getting found, right? And brought in. And I'm listening, and I'm serious. I'm like 6. And I'm going, this is bullshit. Right? It just didn't sound, it sounded made up. And I was really, really young, but I was listening. I was like, who does this happen to? and I'm not so sure about this. And we took a test on it. You know what I mean? I remember all of this, and I wasn't buying into it. But the doctrine starts at a young age, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It does. And my big question was that it was about God, and that God would judge us in such ways. And I called that out as well as bullshit, because it's like, we're supposed to be non-judgmental, non-prejudice, and they're telling me that there's a God that judges me if I do something wrong. It was like, no, I'm sorry, this just doesn't cut it.
My brother Mike, he's no longer with us. He's out there in the great beyond, but we were kids, and he was always a troublemaker. I was pretty innocent, right? I really was. I was always trying to do the right thing, but he was a criminal out of the gate, man. He just was. We were really young, and again, like 5 years old, 6 years old, and the church was across the street from our place. And I remember him going, "We can do whatever we want." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Man, all you got to do is donate some money." I said, "To who?" When they pass the basket around, that's where you, is that how that works? Okay. But my brother already had that, in his head. I never did a confessional. I never did any of that. But I do think about that today. Yeah. Why do some people do bad things but go to church on Sunday?
Yeah.
For that reason. Yeah, for that reason. Yeah. So they can drive away going, "Well, I'm cleansed. I'm good for another week. I can do what I want for a week." When did you start to put the research into not only ICU, but psychic abilities in children?
Well, it was after these dreams with my sister. I actually went to an evening of clairvoyance, and I spoke to the medium there about the dreams. And he said, "They weren't just dreams." I said, "Absolutely. And I'd love to do what you do." And he looked at me and he said, "You would?" And I was like, holy crap, where did that come from? Because that was not my intention. And he said, "Well, I can teach you." And he started to take me out there into the sort of, as you call it, the beyond, and taught me to meditate, and introduced me to, other beings. And it was just incredible. That was the start of it. And at the time I had chronic fatigue as well. So I was barely functioning as a human being, but it just became a new way of life for me. And it actually took me straight out of the chronic fatigue and into a whole new realm of understanding that there's more to life than, going to work every day, paying the bills. And I know they have to be done, but it just showed me a whole new world where I didn't have to conform, because I've been a non-conformist all my life. But that was definitely the turning point there as well, because I opened up these abilities that, we're born with, and it just blew me away. And to be honest, Jimmy, my feet haven't touched the ground for 20 years. I literally have been so hungry for knowledge and experiences and everything. And it took me through the development of my psychic abilities, my ability to communicate with discarnate beings. It was a whole journey of discovery, and I love every minute of it.
You mentioned your first time in meditation and being introduced to beings. Who were you introduced to?
So they're what we call the spirit guides, but they like to be called cosmic partners these days. But I was introduced to a medium that had lived here in the UK, a lady called Doris Stokes, who'd passed over. And I was introduced to, and a lot of people will know this name in the States, Dr. Andrew Jackson Davis. And these were the spirits that were coming forward to say, we want to work with you, we want to teach you, we want to be part of your journey. And I didn't have a clue who most of them were, but that was the exciting part, because then I just went down the rabbit holes to find out who they were, what they did. And the names were part of my everyday life.
Like,
Well, Dr. Andrew Jackson Davis, when, he used to do seances with Abraham Lincoln, and he actually took me on a journey of discovery through understanding what trance mediumship was, because he was an amazing trance medium. And so some of my best teachers have actually been in consciousness, not just human teachers. So he took me down this journey of understanding what it is to go into an altered state of consciousness, and to create the blending of two spirits, mine and another spirit, and then surrendering myself enough to be able to hand over my voice to them, and give them the opportunity to have a voice as well. So they would come through with philosophy and guidance, and various other things that I never in my wildest dreams believed would be possible, but that's what happens now, and it's quite amazing.
I used to, oh man. All right. I used to, UFOs, always an interest since I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
Dreams, always into that. Deja vu, always into that growing up from a very, very young age. I've always been fascinated with these subjects. Loch Ness Monster, whatever.
Yeah.
And the pyramids in Egypt, and okay, into all of that stuff. But I drew the line at meditation, at crystals, at activation, chakras, pineal gland, third eye. I was just like, man, okay, you guys do your thing. That's you guys have fun, whatever. And I wouldn't hang out with that crowd. It wasn't my thing. And then one day, I'm with a group of friends, a large group of friends, and they are going to do some singing with some sound bowls in this medicine wheel. Right? Come on, Jimmy, come on. Join us. No. Take your crystals, put them in your pocket, go do your thing. I'm gonna go over here and hang out with the alien grays. No, come on. So I did. And I sit down in this medicine wheel, and they start singing in the medicine bowls, and here, I'm going to change cameras. So I'm sitting there, and there's right, they want to hold hands, and I'm looking around, everybody's got their eyes closed. So I close my eyes. I'm kind of looking around at everybody with one eye. Okay, am I doing the right thing? And I'm saying, and all of a sudden, boom. And so, and this, I'm not going to get into the details. The point is this pink veil comes across, it comes from over here, comes across, and I am someplace else for real. I don't know how long this lasted. Let's fast forward. The music stops and the singing stops, and everything just kind of, the fog is lifted, and I come out of it, and I don't know where I am. And I opened up my eyes, and I'm looking around at everybody. I'm like, what's going on? What are you guys doing? Okay. What are you guys doing? Where the hell am I? What's going on? Hey, I was so confused. And I just kind of stood up, and so Jimmy, give me some space. I need a minute. I couldn't even walk. So as I'm getting my head together, I thought to myself, it's real. Right? This thing is real. And what the crazy part about this, and I want your take on what I went through. The crazy part about this is I didn't like it. It was unbelievable. It truly showed me something, but I was not in control. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It grabbed me, the universe, and went shapap. Right? And I didn't like that part. And since then it's happened to me a few times, again, quite by accident. where I'm not intentionally trying to do this, but it does happen.
Yeah.
I'm not unique, am I? It's like a first time experience, but when you see how this is done and what it can be, it's profound, isn't it?
It really is. And I'm laughing because, there's some people who walk this earth who, if consciousness want to get your attention, they could easily just tickle you with a feather. And there are some people who walk this earth who consciousness need to slap with a brick. And you got slapped with a brick because your denial and your rebellion against everything that, people were believing in or, aligned with, they were going to get you one day. They really were. And boy, did they. And whether you liked it or not, it was an experience that you'll never, ever forget. And it's one that takes you on another discovery.
Yeah.
And they happen. They can happen spontaneously anywhere, really.
Did it happen to you?
I've had some pretty amazing experiences, yeah, but not so much in meditation. I've had a few, but I'm not a meditator. I kind of live my life to the degree where I'm in a constant form of meditation because I feel that connection permanently. But I've had some really profound experiences, and that's been in an awakened state as well. We were on a vacation in Egypt. It was at Christmas, and we'd been on the beach all day. And I said to my husband, "I'm going back to the room," and he said, "Well, I'm going for a walk." Well, I'd been reading Eat, Love, Pray, or Eat, Pray, Love, whichever way around it goes, and they were talking about the mala beads in the book, the meditation beads. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I'm going to see if the shop in the hotel has got some beads. So off I go, and there was nothing there. And I go back to the room and I start to write a letter, and I just put, "Dear God." And I wrote this letter about everything I was grateful for. And, it was just, pouring my heart out onto this paper. And I folded it up and I put it away. And my husband came back and he had this really strange look on his face. So I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Well, I just walked past the Intercontinental next door." He said, "And there was this camel tied to a tree." Well, because we were there at Christmas, I jokingly said to him, "Were there 3 wise men as well?"
Mm-hmm.
and he said, "No, Nick, be serious." Okay. So he said, and I walked past the camel and I could hear shouting. He said, and I turn around and there's this man standing next to the camel. So I said, right. He said, and he beckoned me to come back. So I walked towards him and he said, "I have something for you." And John said, I don't have any money. And he said, no money. You must take this. And with that, John opened his hand. He said, "This must be for you." And it was a beaded bracelet.
Oh,
Yeah.
Not that I didn't see that coming, but I saw that coming.
Yeah.
So what did you think when your husband gave it to you?
Oh, I just knew that greater beyond, that greater power was listening. And it just doesn't surprise me anymore, but I'm still in awe of it.
I don't know what it is about Egypt. I have my suspicions, but I've had many very deep experiences there, and each one of them, I didn't expect it. I didn't think that, that's what I was there for. But yeah, Egypt is special. There is something about it, and there's another thing. The children of Egypt are happy.
Yeah.
They're happy.
Yeah.
It's such a bizarre thing where we, outside of Egypt, around the world, certainly here in the United States, we have we are taught, I should say, the propaganda on what happiness is. Right? Going to a good school, going to a good high school, going to a good college, getting a good job, paying your taxes, getting a big house, that is happiness, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
part of what we're taught, but you know where I'm going with this.
Mm.
In Egypt, you're out in the middle of the desert. You're driving in the middle of the desert. You're driving by a farm, and you're looking out the window of this very luxurious bus, right? You're living the life, and you're driving past this farm that's got literally a donkey and a cart and a house, and that's it. And you're looking at, and the kids see you from miles away.
Yeah.
And when that bus is, what are they doing? They're running across the farm, running up to the edge of the street, smiling ear to ear and waving.
Yeah. It's because they are not living complicated lives. They're not being indoctrinated. They have the freedom to live and be children. No pressures, no goals, nothing. And it's very simple. One of the I love Egypt, by the way. I'm going again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I think I've been there about 15, 16 times. But, I get told, so one of my main cosmic partners, she talks to me and she says, you human beings haven't earned the right to be called human beings. So she said, you just don't stop. So we're going to call you human doings.
Human doings? Okay. All right.
And then she says, every human doing on the earth has earned a PhD in complexity. And then she laughs and she'll say, but you're supposed to have PhDs in simplicity. and it's so true. It's like, why do we overcomplicate things? Why does it have to be such a stressful life? Why do people have so many expectations? My philosophy and my teachings are no expectations, no attachment to outcome, no obligations. And
that sounds so perfect. It really does. Last night, I'm going to jump into the ICU Academy, but last night, okay, I just turned 62. I'm 62 years old. And last night, this thought pops in my head. And the thought was, I am exactly the same as I was when I was 22.
Yeah.
That was the thought. I have the same thought processes. I think the same. I act the same. I'm in a, older body, but I didn't jump on the adult bus. Right. What I thought was being and I get it. If that's your journey, that's your journey. And that's fine. I miss the adult bus. I didn't jump on it. I don't think, act, do the things that when I was a kid that adults did. And I can look around and see that today. I just, no. I refuse to grow up. I refuse. I'm not tapping out.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to, that's what I call being fully aligned with your inner child. We have this concept about inner child, but honestly, Jimmy, we don't have to grow up as long as we can be responsible. And as long as we know the difference between right and wrong, and we're living, authentic life to the best of our abilities, why should we? We have this life to live, and we should live it with fun and joy and excitement, and as if it's Christmas Day every day.
I pay my taxes.
Yeah.
I have my bills. I have my adult commitments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of it is joy and bliss.
And that's how it should be.
Yep. What made me happy when I was 22? Guitars, music, good food, and friends. Yeah. Right. That's my life today. Right there. That's it. Yeah. It's brilliant. Not no adult consideration. Now go ahead.
Isn't that amazing that you had that at 22 and you have it now, and that you can live that life that you want, and then there are so many people out there that don't even know what it is.
Oh,
You
man,
know, to
that's
have
where
that
my empathy.
empathy.
That's where my empathy just pours out of me.
Yeah, yeah,
I remember the first time. It's many, 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 many years ago, but I had somebody come up to me. I was probably in my 30s,
yeah.
somewhere in there. Somebody comes up and says, "I'm an empath,"
Okay.
and I kind of heard the word,
Yeah,
didn't know what it meant. And now looking back, and I quickly figured out what an empath was with my friend, because I could do something. I could say anything. All
yeah.
right. I could say something like BMX bicycle. What? I quickly figured that out. Now, did she take it to the extreme? That was just her. That
Mm,
was her. I wasn't in touch with that, but I had it.
yeah,
Today, it pours out of me.
yeah,
Oh my God. And I can't control it either. I can't. I have zero control. I don't break out crying, but I
yeah.
do break out my wallet. I can tell
Yeah.
you that right now.
Yeah.
I truly do. What is the ICU Academy now that we've laid the foundation? What is the ICU Academy?
Okay. It's a teaching modality, and it's not an actual physical school, but it's an academy where I train teachers around the world to work with children who go through a 12-session program to understand all of those things we've been talking about, but with also the ability to see completely blindfolded, to be able to read, ride bicycles, do their everyday life with blindfolds on. And it never ceases to amaze me that we take kids through this program, and the blindfold reading is something that is like the cherry on top of the cake. But all of the ingredients that go into making that cake, and seeing those children literally transform within a period of 12 weeks, Jimmy, it's more than just seeing blindfolded. It's just a whole transformation for these kids that go from 0 to 100 in a very short period of time, with educational experiences, with social experiences. Family dynamics change. There's so many things that happen, but everybody kind of just sees it as let's get my kids through the program so that they can see blindfolded. As I said, that's the cherry on the cake. But I set the academy up because I knew that this world needed something where these kids were given some foundations in life, not just to reach for the goals, but to understand what they mean to them individually. And we see that the transformations are just incredible, absolutely incredible.
How does it start when you're talking to adults about this training? What's step one?
Step one is to really tell them that they're gifting their child an opportunity to go through life with grace and ease, to understand the dynamics of who they are, not just who they see looking back at them in the mirror. It's a program where the children will understand what it means to be praised and to accept it with the grace that it's given. It'll be there's scientific explanations, there's educational explanations. As the program has developed, we see the reasons behind why their eyes itch with the blindfold on, why they start yawning. There's so many things there that the number one takeaway is your child will be gifted an opportunity to even be in the top 20% of achievers in the world.
You said eyes itch.
Yeah. Yeah. So when they've got the blindfold on, we used to think it was perhaps the foam within the actual blindfold itself, but it's not. So what happens, and it was an ophthalmologist that described this to me. He used to be an eye doctor, and he gave it all up to follow his path. So when the brain starts to compute that the child is reading but the eyes aren't functioning, the brain then, there's some sort of confusion that goes on in the brain, and it wants to stimulate the eyes because there needs to be some sort of logic, perception going on here. So the brain sends a tiny electrical charge to the eyes to stimulate them. I believe it's called arcing. And when this charge goes to the eyes start to itch and they get watery as well. And I didn't know this until this guy told me. So when the kids' eyes start to itch, we get excited because we can see the brain is now starting to become aware, to recalibrate into a whole different perspective of being able to see.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to drop something on you. You ready?
Go.
About, I was going to say a year, maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I noticed something, and that is every time, without exception, every time that I lay my head on my pillow, the first time, my eyes itch and start watering.
No.
Now I want you to listen. I thought there's a problem with my pillows, pillowcases. And so I went through, it's about 6 months ago, 3 sets of pillows, actually 4, because I got another set last week. Pillowcases, washing, this and that, always, without exception.
Yeah.
Every time. So I started reading into this, and I read some stuff about eye activation.
Yeah.
And maybe it's tied to dream sleep. Maybe it's tied to that my brain knows that I'm getting ready to dream, which is sport for me, right?
Yeah.
I love it, and I practice it. And so 2 days ago, now I've been thinking about this constantly. It only happened the second I have to, it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So last week I got a new set of king size down pillows, right? Okay. All right. Really nice. And you mentioned fatigue, chronic fatigue.
Yeah.
So I buy the new pillows and I laid down new pillowcases, and my eyes started watering. I go, well, okay, it's obviously not that. Whatever it is, it's got to be tied to this dream thing. My eyes are being activated. That's got to be what it is. That night, I woke up in the morning with these new pillows, and I woke up completely refreshed.
Yeah.
Like I slept like I haven't slept in a long time. Really appreciated that. Every night in this last 7 days, going to bed, eyes watering, eyes are itching, but I've got fresh everything on the bed. So it's not that. It's got to be this. Now I'm having this excellent sleep, and your brain knows this.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me that you just mentioned that, because this has been part of my own research. Now I'm going to defer this over to the chat. Does everybody understand what I am going through and what Nicola is talking about? Because this phenomena is real, and I'm going through it myself. And to make this suggestion back to me, how did the kids respond to that when you tell them that this is okay? It's not the mask. Yes. Look, yes. Everybody is saying yes.
Yeah.
So it's not me.
No.
Damn it. I knew something was going on. I knew it.
Sure.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. I absolutely, yes.
If it was allergies, you'd have a stuffy nose. Your throat would be dry and croaky. And no, it's part of. You see, the brain is so important. Obviously, we've got to live. We've got to function. It's our computer, if you like, and we constantly talk about the power of the heart, but the brain has a consciousness that, if we use it correctly, we can integrate it with our spiritual development, our understanding of what consciousness means, the brain wants to be involved. And so when the kids' eyes start to itch, we get excited and we tell them, this is great, this is part of your progression, this is amazing. But, when I train the teachers, they say, well, what do I do if my kid wants to scratch its eyes? You say, hold the book with both hands. Keep the hand,
I love
keep
that.
the hands occupied. And that it is an exciting thing. When I train people to be trance mediums, you get something called REM, rapid eye movement. And, people say they can feel their eyes flickering and things like that. The brain is an integral part of our human development through the spirituality and the consciousness levels. And with the kids as well, we work a lot on integrating the left and the right brain so that they can become logically creative and creatively logical. But the most important part of the left and the right brain is actually the midbrain, the limbic, because that's where the action happens.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right? The first Caroline Corey, this is, I don't know when Superhuman first came out, but
Yeah.
it was probably 7 years ago or so.
Yeah,
like
on
right
my works in that movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that comes out, and I'm fascinated with the subject, and a bunch of people that were in the movie were coming up to me, and some other people that were doing eye mask.
Yeah.
And I was so fascinated. The movie itself is great. It's got everything in it: remote viewing and telekinesis and all of that, PK. But the mind sight part of it, seeing without eyes, was so fascinating to me. So then I ended up getting the eye mask, and I went through it, and how do I say this? It can't be when a kid is reading a page from Moby Dick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Now, I've read Moby Dick. I've read Moby Dick a few times. Kind of sucked, actually. Wasn't that good, in my opinion? So what happens? Well, guy dies trying to catch a whale. Okay. That's what I can tell you right now. I don't have a page memorized from that book.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I was watching that, I was like, okay, all right. And then you get around these people that go through the program, kids and adults, but yeah, you can do it too. So I have all the masks. I have all that stuff. Do we all have that ability, even as an adult, to go and see without your eyes?
We do. It's much, much easier for children. And the reason why is because the children's left brains haven't been developed to the extent of an adult's left brain. It's really fascinating because, I went to bed a few hours ago just to get some shut eye. And I've never done this before, Jimmy. I laid there and I closed my eyes and I said to consciousness, show me what I need to see. And I started to see through my eyelids. And I'm laying in the dark room, and I'm moving my head around, and I'm putting my hand in front of my face, and I could see with my eyes closed in the dark room. Now, I've put the blindfold on many times, and I see the sparkles of light that the kids see at first, but I've never seen with the blindfold on. And I think that's because I've developed it, and I've questioned so many things within it that my left brain's got too much invested interest in the work itself. But I laid there and I saw the room with my eyes closed, and it wasn't from memory. So yes, we all have the ability to do it. But one of the things I say to every teacher that I train, and that is, we have to honor the sole purpose of the child. So when they're going through the program, regardless of whether they see or not, we have to honor that part of them as well.
Do you have to be able to have vision already?
No.
can a blind person adapt this?
Yes, I have worked with somebody who lost their vision, and
Right.
that's the key thing, because I do believe further down the line we will be able to tap into past life memories of what colors are and words and letters, etc., for people that are born without their vision.
Mm-hmm.
But people who have lost their vision, there's every potential for them to see again. I've proven it. I worked with a lady I know who lost her vision. It was purely experimental, but my big question is the world ready for that?
Well, I don't want to break hearts either. Somebody that is blind and has lost their vision, and they're dealing with that their whole lives, and they haven't experienced watching a dog catch a frisbee, or something like that. And that's where the empathy comes through. But I don't want to break hearts or build up. You mean I can see without my? I want to take this class. I want to be able to do that. Well, I don't want to. What if it doesn't work? Can you imagine the hope that you put into somebody, and then they don't get to experience this?
Exactly that. And that's why even with the children, we say to everybody who goes through the program, please do not have any expectations, because expectation comes from the left brain, and you're automatically including the left brain into the program, and we're trying to avoid it as if it's the plague. So we have to be very mindful of that. The world is just waking up to the fact that there's a possibility that kids can see without their eyes, that they can read blindfolded. Let's get this established before we move on to people who have lost their vision. And there might be people listening to this now who wish they could see, and tons of empathy, because this is something that is fundamental to being a human being. But I'm just not sure the world's ready for the unveiling of the development of vision through blindness.
There's going to be bad people that are going to take advantage of it. There's always that element.
There will. And something, I've always questioned, there's lots of modalities out there where people can learn to read blindfolded or see blindfolded. But what I questioned, several years ago, was what sets the ICU Academy apart from other modalities. And I put that question out to consciousness, and the answer that came back is because we're doing it from a heart perspective, that we are not just using it as a party trick or something like that. We're literally developing children to go on to be those empaths, to be those, super amazing human beings that will change the world. And that to me is the one thing that I maintain through everything we do with the kids, is that it's not a game, it's not a party trick, it's a way of life. It's a developmental program to get children to stay with those natural abilities that they're born with.
We've all seen that movie, right? We've all seen that movie. Get the kids together, put them in an institute, right? And let's develop the next secret weapon. And it's going to be an army of children with psychic abilities. And here's the flip side to that. I think that the world is ready for it. And I'll tell you why. Nearly every time that we see a movie with ET in contact, what is involved with ET? ET's got telepathy.
Exactly.
ET communicates through the mind. And they have the power of consciousness. And all of that is what ET is about. And we are not there yet. Therefore, we are not at the level of what ET is and what our future is. I think that we've all seen that movie, haven't we?
We have, but all of those movies, every single one of them is teaching us about human potential. Every single one. But when is it going to be that the masses wake up and realize that you've only got to look at the film Avatar. You know, that was in the making long, many years before it came out. But again, it was like, is the world ready for something like Avatar? But let's just get it out there, because the more people start to wake up and realize that we have so much more potential than we see, than we're exhibiting at this time, the quicker the evolution of humanity will happen. And, you know, there's been leaps over the last 2 decades, massive leaps in development, but we need more. You know, and you know, what you put out in your program and what people around the world are doing, it needs to become mainstream. Not
What are
just
okay. Really quick, we'll set this up for after the break. But what are the benefits for children aside from seeing without your eyes?
Yeah.
But what are the benefits? What are there? Because other adults have to hear this and go, okay, all right. But what's in it for my child?
So they have, the benefits are they grow in confidence. They become educationally aware. They become socially aware. We've seen children go through healing processes. We've seen, I mean, I worked with a child who had dyspraxia. He was 2.5 years behind his reading age with his peers. In 6 weeks, Jimmy, he caught up with his reading age, you know, and then went beyond it. We've seen children go from 0 confidence to 100% confidence. And that's without them being precocious. This is about them being fully self-aware. We've had kids go on to become, you know, one of the kids I taught, he's training now to be an Olympic swimmer. Now, we don't know whether he was going to be able to do that or not without the program. But what he lacked before the program was the ability to believe in himself. And now he believes in himself to that degree that he's training to be an Olympic swimmer. So the benefits are vast.
Yeah, right. It's the hero's journey.
Yeah.
You know, it's the hero's journey where you find out that you are stronger than you think, you know, that you can reach deep down inside of you and just get it done.
Yeah.
Where you didn't have that self-confidence and the self-awareness before. But we've seen it over and over again. It's like Frodo in Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The weight of the world on your shoulder. I can't do this. Well, and you know, obviously I'm talking science fiction stuff, but you know, like Luke Skywalker, or you know, you want to look at an isolated case. Well, yeah, right. You want to be able to reflect, look at yourself, and what are your capabilities? What can you do? Dahlia, who is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Dahlia Burgoy. She said to me once, again, I want to explore all of this with ICU and you.
Yeah.
I said, how? Right? You know, how does this get started? And she said, you know, when I teach people, because you mentioned, you know, a parlor trick. Well, I don't know how Dahlia can go to a party and not have somebody go, hey, check it out. I got some, come on. You know, I've got a Bible right there. I've got an eye mask. Let's get this thing started. But I said, so what are the first steps? And she goes, light.
Yeah.
Right. You've got the eye mask on. There's a light coming at you from a direction in this room. Find it. Right. Now that's baby steps, right? That's exactly. Do you teach adults the same type of process?
Oh, we don't teach adults.
No, the adults are teachers, right?
Oh, I see. Yeah. So it is a very similar thing. But you know, the key to the adults that I teach to be teachers is that we praise the kids constantly. We never use the word no. We don't actually use the word yes in the session either. And we never, ever ask them a question.
Why?
So, because if I say to you, Jimmy, how are you? Your left brain has to find a logical answer. If I say to you, Jimmy, tell me how you're feeling, it can come straight from the right brain because there's no question mark.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder if my eyes are going to itch tonight. But it happens every single night.
Yeah.
But when I going back to the process and how teachers are going to turn around and do this, that itching eye thing, when I thought it was a medical issue. I'm looking for crazy stuff living in my bed and crawling in my ears. I don't know. I was going down that road. And when I went, what? Your brain is turning on your eyes.
Yeah. And the other important thing about the blindfolded seeing, it's not third eye activity. You know, it's not coming from the pineal gland per se. It is what I call an outer consciousness connection, that if you like, your spirit, your outer consciousness and your human consciousness are becoming one.
Let's take our break. Man, okay. Pineal gland will just get me going down another road. But we'll do that when we come back. Our guest tonight, Nicola Farmer, is with us live from the United Kingdom. We're talking about kids' psi abilities and, of course, the ICU Academy. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Nicola, you stay right there. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button right now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. I am hosting, speaking, and presenting once again for the Conscious Life Expo, the largest conference of its type in the world. February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. Speakers, event, and schedule easy. Just visit ConsciousLifeExpo.com. I will be hosting and speaking at the Sedona Ascension Retreat, March 20th through the 22nd, 2026 in Sedona, Arizona. An amazing list of speakers, and it's beautiful Sedona. Come and hang out with us and just go to SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. I'm heading back to the Midwest for the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026, in Delavan, Wisconsin, at the Lake Resort. It is beautiful. This is a great conference right in the heart of the Midwest, where I'm from. I'll see you there. Just go to Contact Modalities Expo, that's XPO.com. I will be hosting and presenting once again at Contact in the Desert. That's May 28th through June 1st, 2026, the largest UFO conference in the world. Come and hang out with us June 23rd through July 1st. Tickets and everything else that you need is at contactinthedesert.com. Want to change your life? Want that paradigm shift? Then visit Peru with Brian Forrester and myself for the Inca Celebration of the Sun, June 23rd through July 1st, 2026. A full 10 days of visiting the country, all of the amazing sights, and of course, the celebration of the winter solstice. It's all simple to do. Go to hiddenincatours.com. Come join us for the Monty Python Scotland Tour, August 1st through the 9th, 2026. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event where you get to go to the castles from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. August 1st through the 9th, 2026. Just visit HaleyARamsey.com. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's fade to black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? Go to JimmyChurchRadio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut.
Jimmy Church, Gaia TV, Fade to Black, here at Machu Picchu with Brian Forster and Hidden Inca Tours. Amazing tour so far, Brian, but we're here to announce what we're going to do next year in 2026. What's going on?
Okay, November 2026, we're going to have our major tour of Peru and Bolivia, either a pre or post tour of Paracas and Nazca on the coast. And then after that, 6 days in Easter Island.
Bucket list, Easter Island. Come join Brian and I and his amazing team here at Hidden Inca Tours for Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island. Signing out. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye, gang.
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Today on the show, live from the UK, Nicola Farmer joins us. And we're talking about, well, the ICU Academy and her other schools. We're going to be jumping into that in just a second. Fascinating conversation. And Nicola, today, check this out. The interest in this subject is worldwide. And I say that because Apple today released their podcast rankings. Okay, so they did, by the way, Joe Rogan was unseated. He was dethroned. But there was another, they did their top 10 list. The number one most listened to episode of any podcast in the world was the telepathy tapes. How incredible is that? And what does that say to me? That says to me that the world is interested in this subject. What does that say to you?
Oh, it speaks volumes. Because I mean, for Kai Dickens, this is just her dream come true, you know, and there is a huge interest out there. There just hasn't been enough documented stories. There hasn't been enough exposure of what is possible, and that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. You know,
Well, the other issue is mainstream academia has always treated this as woo-woo, and they don't want to approach this. The world doesn't look at it this way. Isn't it time for the mainstream world of academics to start taking this extremely serious, because it is real? Yeah,
it is time. But we know mainstream education is so antiquated that, you know, the kids are being put through the dark ages through education. And it is really time that education is revamped and looked at from a whole different perspective. And I do believe it will happen. You know, I know with the work we do with the kids through the ICU Academy, if we could get that into mainstream, that would be a game changer in education. But I know that the route into mainstream education is going to be working with kids who are most educationally challenged. Because
so Hogwarts is real.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. So are Jedi schools.
Yeah. And we can giggle about that, but it needs to start from the top down.
Yeah.
Yes, the children, of course we're talking, but that's the bottom up. It's got to start from the top down, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with you, because I think.
Wait, you have the School of Luminosity.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That's for adults. You have ICU. You said at the beginning, well, you know, I'm teaching adults how to turn around and do. Well, that's always been my take. It's got to start from the top down.
Yes. However, the children are our future. So if we now look at it from a whole different perspective and say, let's start at the bottom and work up, then it can filter through, because adult minds need to have that logic. They need to have the ability to understand something. There's got to be a purpose. But if we start showing the adult minds what the children are capable of, it could go either way. It could be down another route of fear, that these kids are going to be more intelligent than the adults, or it could take us down a route of wonderment and saying, okay, well, if this is possible, what else is possible?
I've had the opportunity many times over the years where I've had parents come up to me and go, "You've got to meet our daughter. You've got to meet our son. Yeah. He's amazing." And I sit down with these kids and, just talk, and I listen to the things that they say.
Yeah.
And I look back at myself as a kid. I'm like, I was making mud pies when I was your age.
Yeah.
Right? Where is this coming from? And I step back and I say to myself, I think there's been a fundamental change in our DNA, that there is something that has been activated in kids today, where their level of intelligence and understanding is way beyond where you and I were when we were kids. I'm not wrong, am I?
No, I agree. But even making mud pies is using your imagination. It's doing something in its simplest form. But these kids that are being born now are more highly evolved than we were when we were kids. And it's not that we didn't have it.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I was sitting with, with parents, right? The three of us are sitting there, and this little, just so intelligent. She was probably 6.
Yeah.
Okay. And she goes, well, I have been shown the math that connects consciousness into the universe.
Yeah.
She says something like that. I'm like, what? What? Nicola, that's not mud pies.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
A whole nother level of, and what is going on in the magic of their vision and how they view the world. It's totally different than when you and I were kids.
Exactly. But if we look at it from a soul perspective, that these souls we come here, to have an experience. But these children that are coming now, their soul is delivering the experience. These are highly evolved souls who are coming to change this world, because let's be honest, this world couldn't continue going down the path it's been going down, because it would have become a world of destruction. I mean, it's pretty close to it. But these kids are choosing to come back into another lifetime to actually show us what is possible, to show us that we can evolve in such ways that this planet could be something phenomenal, absolutely incredible. And their purpose is so different to what ours was. You know, our generations came to pave the way for these kids to come. And we've been doing that for many lifetimes, but particularly now, you know, you're working hard to get the word out there. We're all doing what we can so that these kids can have a voice. These kids can be their true selves. These kids can show us what is possible. And that's really necessary.
I don't want to sound negative.
No?
But I just want to say one thing.
Yeah.
I'm confused about light language.
Ah.
In both kids
Yeah.
and adults.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm buying what's being sold.
Okay.
And I have an open mind. You know this,
Yeah.
right? I have an open mind to all of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But light language is a confusing thing. What is it?
So I speak light language. I channel it. Okay, whether it's channeled from my inner being or outer, it doesn't matter. Light language is not words, it's vibrations. So when you had your experience with the singing bowls, okay, that was vibrational medicine. So light language is supposed to be a form of vibrational medicine as well. You know, we know there's more to life than Earth. We know that there's beings that come from outer Earth, and it's purely frequency. You know, and sometimes you might hear a translation of light language, but isn't it like everything, Jimmy, that, you know, it becomes known to humankind what these things are, and lots of people jump on the bandwagon and think, okay, I can do that. But when you listen to light language, it's not what you're hearing, it's what you're feeling from it. And that's the difference. It's just not something you listen to.
So I guess there isn't a way to translate it from a third person, from the observer. You can't translate it. The interpretation comes from who is receiving the frequencies. Exactly.
So I could speak light language to you and 5 other people, and I'll say to you, tell me what I just said in English, and they would all give me 5 different explanations. But that's because that's their interpretation.
I want to see 2 people speak light language to each other. That's have you done that? Have you done that?
Yeah, absolutely, I have. And what was interesting a few months ago, so I have a group that come together once a month, and we go into a very blacked out room, dark room, and it's a trance session. But this one particular evening, I decided that we weren't going to go into a dark room. We were going to sit in a regular room, and I had 2 frequency harmonizers on in the room set at certain frequencies. And I said to them, all we're going to do is go into a very light altered state and see what happens. And the 5 people that were sat with me spontaneously started to speak light language. But none of them were the same. They all sounded different. They were all saying different dialects, words, etc. But it was an activation of some sort through those frequencies that proved to me that light language is frequency based.
I have a friend, Ruben Langdon, did a great documentary series on light language, and I have a lot of respect for Ruben. He's brilliant. He's so intelligent. I learned a lot from that, but I also backed up and thought to myself, if I started doing that, I may tap out. I just may go, and I've gone too far into the woo
Yeah.
And I don't need to be speaking light language or going down that path. I didn't leave his doc, and it's a great documentary series. And I've had many of the people that are in that documentary series on this show, and I've had them do light language. I've had children on this show with their parents speak light language on this show. And to watch a kid go through that, or an adult, and speak it, I'm fascinated with it, but I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm buying what's being sold. I'm just very, very confused with it.
Yeah. And that's okay. That's fine. You know, it's not something that we all have to buy into. It will resonate with some people and it won't with others.
For sure.
And that's what's so amazing about this world and people. We're not all sheep. You know, we can have an opinion.
It's true. No, you're right. And here's, you know why I'm a walking paradox? I say what I say about light language.
Yeah.
But fairies are real.
Yeah.
Right? And I ride a Harley. Right?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm a pretty hardcore guy.
Yeah.
And so I fairies, I'm fully, I'm right. I'm cool with that.
And that makes you unique. You know, it makes you who you are. And for you to be able to sit there and say that, that's brilliant. Because there's too many people in the spiritual closet still. You know, and
I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. And if everybody was entitled and allowed to say what they want to say about, I believe in this and I don't believe in that, that's great. That's what we want. We want truth. Because spirituality is about truth.
You don't have to, I guess, sometimes in this community, I love our community. I really do. I really do. But sometimes in this community, there are people in this community that you have to be all in. And if you're not all in on everything, then you're an imposter.
Oh, well.
You know what I'm saying too.
I
you know
do,
exactly what I'm saying.
But you know, the thing that I find really fascinating, especially at the moment, you know, there's been a huge void opening between the asleep and the awake, meaning those who are aware and those who aren't. And that void has been widening for so long now. But there was also a void opening between the awake and the awake, the aware and the aware. And the difference is that the people who are on the positive side of the aware are the ones who keep evolving and questioning and looking deep into things and saying, okay, so this is good, this isn't good, let me move on to the next thing that I can explore. And then you've got the other side of the aware community that are still doing the same thing that they were doing 15, 20 years ago. And they haven't evolved. But it's all about the questioning. Does this feel right for me? Is it something I feel aligned with? No. So we'll park that here. What is it about my life? You know, I did a Q&A last week on a live stream, and someone said to me, what is the meaning of life? And I just looked back at him and I said, you know what? That is $1 million question. I said, I can't answer that for you because I don't believe there's a true answer. I said, but what I can tell you is I know the meaning of my life.
Ask me the question.
Jimmy, what's the meaning of life?
Love.
Oh, fundamental, basic, absolutely.
Yep. That's it. Yeah. Everything points to that.
Yeah.
Everything points to that. You can go off on side trips. You can do, but it all comes back to that center.
And what if there's something more than that?
I don't know if there is.
There is.
I don't think there is.
There absolutely is.
Talk to me.
A higher frequency of love is authenticity. Because love,
I would flip that over.
Because
what you get out of love is authenticity. I think love's at the top.
I disagree, because you have to be authentic to be love.
Yeah, you do. But can you be authentic without love? No, you'd never have
No,
found
you've got to go
yourself
together.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the other one that couples in with that is respect. Love and respect have to go together as well. But if we go back to what you said about the telepathy tapes and with the children on the spectrum, those children are nothing but authentic. I mean, yes, they demonstrate love in so many different ways, but those kids have come here to teach us authenticity. You know, I don't call it autism, I call it authentism. Or, you know, when they say they're autistic, I say, no, they're authentic, because they can't be anything else other than authentic.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah,
So authentism has a higher frequency than love, because if you are truly authentic, then you are truly love. We could spin this, you know, many times, but it has to go together. They have to be in the same. And, you know, I watched a reel recently on Facebook, and this guy was talking about his near-death experience. And he was saying that when he died, he was in the back of an ambulance in a body bag, literally. And the young paramedic was saying that he didn't think the guy was dead. And the more experienced paramedic was saying, well, he's dead. And he goes to the other side, whatever that is, and he meets this energy, this man called Drake on the other side. And he was saying to him, you know, in order to reach the level of consciousness in human form, you need to have experienced these 10 things. And I can't remember all 10, but I remember one. And Drake said to this young guy, would you say that you're prejudiced? And the young guy said, no. He said, because I have Asian stepbrothers and sisters. He said, how could I possibly say I'm prejudiced? And Drake said to him that the guy 3 doors down, and this young guy went, oh, don't talk to me about him, because, you know, he's this, he's that, he's all of these things. And Drake turned and said to him, so you're also prejudiced. And the young guy actually had the option of staying in consciousness or coming back to Earth, and he chose to come back to his human body to carry on with his experiences, knowing these 10 steps. But if we aren't truly authentic in such a way that we can demonstrate love that is possible within a human being, it also has to be without prejudice. And that is going to be a hard thing for a human being.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the goal of so many, if not everybody, unless you're lying to yourself, is trying to get to the feeling that you get throughout your body and your mind, that you get from the experience of love. Yeah. And it can come from a pet. It can come from the opposite sex or the same sex. Yeah. Okay. Yes, for sure. But once you taste it once, and then it leaves your life, right? You get dumped, right? Or whatever it is, right? You will spend a lifetime trying to get that feeling back. Okay. Men have died. Countries have fallen for trying to get that feeling back.
And what's the missing link there?
It's not being authentic. I can tell you that.
Well, no, the missing link, or the missing part of this, is we've got to stop looking outside of ourselves for it. And when you meet somebody and you have that overwhelming feeling of love, as in, you know, the tingles, the heart palpitation, all of those amazing things that you experience with true love, that is only being shown to us because that's what's within us. And if only people stop looking outside of themselves for that type of experience and realize that once they've had it, it becomes part of their blueprint. All they have to do is tap into what they experienced and reenact it within themselves. Because all of these things are not external. Joy is not external. Happiness is not external. We shouldn't be searching for these things. We should be looking inward to find them. And if we experience
that's
it,
why
it's a
I haven't
reminder.
grown. That's why I haven't grown up. That's why I haven't grown up. When okay, so it's the last day of school before summer vacation.
Yeah.
All right, okay. You walk out of that, school's done, right? And
Yeah.
you walk out of the front doors and you're walking home.
Yeah.
The world smells different at that moment.
Only if you know that it smells different. What about the kid who's dreading being off on vacation from school?
He needs his butt kicked. He needs his butt kicked. And the reason why I bring that up is me being an adult, I'm looking for that feeling that I had.
Yeah.
Right? That feeling of walking out of school. And I'm serious. Everything is different.
Yeah.
You know, and the feeling, the joy, right? Now, the kid that is dreading that can't help you, bro. Can't you need to understand that these moments are precious to you.
Yeah.
And in the future, you're going to look back at this. And I didn't have the funnest childhood. I didn't, but it's all part of the journey.
Yeah.
And I constantly, I want to talk about the brain, and I want to shift gears here, but I constantly do the same thing that everybody else does. Maybe I should do a video series or a TV show on this.
Yeah.
But I do something that everybody else does. You look back at some crazy moment in your life where something really shitty happened.
Yeah.
Really bad. It doesn't matter what it is. You did it, somebody else did it, something happened, whatever this or that. Bills didn't get paid, your car got repossessed, and you lost your job, and then, you know, and wow. Right. Well, yeah, but it's part of the journey.
It is.
So today I can think about that experience, but that experience is part of how I arrived here.
Exactly.
Just like that kid that wasn't looking forward to summer vacation. Well, okay, all right, deal with it, man.
Yeah.
Pull up your pants, because it's all part of the journey. You're going to look back and recognize this. Now, the reason why this is so fascinating to me is that I was watching Defending Your Life, the movie, the other day. Have you seen it? Defending Your Life? One of the greatest movies, top 10 ever made in the history of cinema.
Right.
Defending Your Life. It's amazing. But there are a couple of moments in that movie that caused some self-reflection this week. And so when you go through that, one of the things that is mentioned in the movie, Rip Torn says, well, you know, I'm evolved. I use 51% of my brain. Guess how much you use? And he goes, I don't know, a little more than that. And he goes, no. You use between 3 and 5% of your brain. Now, let's stop right there. That has been repeated over and over and over again. It has become dogma. It has become truth. It has been, all right, that we only use 5% of our brain. What was the reason for the universe to give us that other 95%? It's there for something, and we probably used all of it at some point. And to get to this part of our human evolution and go, well, there's no reason to really think about that. Yes, there is. There's a lot of untapped potential that was designed into this beautiful thing inside, you know, in between our ears.
Yeah.
And that's what you are doing. You are teaching us how to get back to what we were given in the first place.
Yeah. I also see the brain as being like a computer hard drive. It's got this fantastic ability, which we call memory. And to me, it's like, let's just say it's got 1 terabyte of storage. So we're using the brain as the processor. We're using the brain to learn, to understand, to think, on all of those human natural things. But I also see it as the storage. Now, when we are going through life and we have our memories and we're building all these neural pathways in the brain, etc., think about this. When people are diagnosed with Alzheimer's and dementia, and they can recall information and memories from the past, but they can't remember yesterday, is it because the capacity of the brain's memory storage is now full? Now, if I go to my computer and it's coming close to maximum capacity of memory, then I can delete stuff from my computer and I can defrag it and do all those things to, you know, speed it up because the memory bank's full. But we can't do that with the human brain. So is a big part of the brain the storage area, or can that be developed in such ways that we can also tap into other parts of the brain where new neural pathways are developing to be able to do X, Y, and Z instead of just A, B, and C?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the brain has so much more potential, but I think a big part of has been lost in that, in how much is our storage area.
When I see video and images of brain scan and activity that happens when individuals are activating certain parts of their brain, whatever it is, it could be the dream state, it could be anger, happiness, and also the memory part of it. Teeny little things light up.
Yeah.
It's really weird. The whole brain in brain scans never goes full tilt.
That's right.
It never lights up.
No.
And all of those connections, all of those neurons, all of those things that start developing from, you know, we're a little tiny little thing and the brain starts getting put together, and then you come out, you open up your eyes and you look at your mom. What's happening at that point when you look at your mom's face? Connections. Right? It's all being there's a lot there that's being connected that is never used. And
you should look at how the brain lights up when people are communicating spiritually as well. When people are channeling or they're in trance states, you should look at the studies they've done with that as well, because that's phenomenal. And that is also proof how, you know, science and spirituality are being brought together through not only perception, but through, you know, the physical parts of the human brain that are awakened when we start to realize there's something out there. It's not just all in here, it's out there as well.
There is you should look into that. Well, maybe you have. It's called the Brain Project.
Yeah.
And the Brain Project, which is one of the biggest things on this planet, it's like CERN, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's also in Switzerland, by the way.
Yeah.
So the project was funded with the idea that they would put together a computer system so big that it would match the electronic connections and transistors and processors in this massive warehouse-sized computer would match the number of connections in a human brain. Right. Trillions. So, and the thought was, once we get to that number of connections and we match the connections in the human brain, that consciousness would evolve, that we would have a computer acting like a human brain. Okay. So about 5 years ago, they got to that number.
Right.
It didn't work. It simply didn't work. And I can only imagine, as they're bringing the last server online, right? The last computer. Okay, here we go. And this thing's going to light up, right?
Yeah.
We're going to, and it simply didn't work. The project is still continuing.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get to that point. But that's how magical the human brain is, isn't it? Oh, I don't know if we'll ever figure it out. But
it's the difference between mechanical and organic. You know, you can build as many computers or store or whatever you like. You can build as many as you like, but it's never going to mirror the organic part of the human brain, because the brain is so much more advanced, except we don't know how to use it that way.
It seems to me, I want to get back to your teaching, but I love this conversation. I love obviously I think about this stuff a lot.
Yeah.
What I think should happen, and it never will, well, maybe someday, is that the engineers, the CEOs of these ginormous tech companies that are working on AI and supercomputers and all of these grand ideas, and they should do all these things. They need to go and sit down for maybe a month and sit down and talk to the Dalai Lama. Go talk to these spiritually conscious, connected people about how they use their brain. They probably know more about the brain and its uses and its physiology than the intellects of the world.
But
you know what I mean?
I tell you though, what they're likely to say is they don't use their brain, they use their heart.
Well, for sure. Right? Where in the world of tech and engineering and all of that, where it's black and white, it's math, it's numbers, it's this, it's pragmatic. There isn't a spiritual connection or a conscious connection to any of that design work.
No.
Right? And if you could apply, or maybe they should do DMT. Maybe that's it too. maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. It's so funny to me how consciousness, man, I'm such a broken record on the subject, how consciousness is so amazing. It is unbelievable. Everybody's aware of it, but so many don't want to touch the subject. They don't even like saying the word.
No. You know, even the word spiritual is kind of like a taboo. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But it's fundamentally, it's who we are. We were that before we were born. We've been through it all our lives, and we'll go back to it. Yeah, we cannot be separated from consciousness. And the sooner people start to realize that, the better.
Have you communicated with ET?
With ETs? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and also in a trance state as well. Sure.
I love the woo. In doing that, what do you say? Do you say bless you when somebody coughs, or is that just a sneeze?
Oh, that's a sneeze.
That's a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
Saying bless you.
Yeah.
You're getting rid of the bad spirits.
That's right. Exactly.
I remember when I was a kid and I was told that. You're told so many things when you're a kid, and you're like, really? It never you remember that for your whole life. That just stays with you.
And you see, and that's exactly the main point about when we teach the kids with the ICU program, is that we give them something that's tangible to believe in, that's not conditioning, because they naturally develop it within themselves. We don't tell them to do it. It's a natural thing.
Like what? Give me something.
So when we take them through the program, we just guide them. We don't tell them what to do. We guide them to unfold naturally. So there's no conditioning going on during the program. It's just simply, if you like, holding space for a child to naturally open up something that is within them. We're not conditioning them or indoctrinating them into believing that seeing blindfolded is possible. We just gift them the space to find it for themselves. And that's where most educational systems go wrong.
It is Hogwarts. I knew it. It's exact. The reason why I brought up ET is consciousness.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated with that aspect of it, because if ET survived and was able to evolve and continue, right? We are in danger of not surviving here on Earth, right? And so we have to get past this moment in our history of self-destruction.
Yeah.
Because we have the ability to do it as you and I are speaking. And that's a frightening thing. We have to be able to get past it. Well, if ET is arriving on this planet, if ET is communicating with us, then they have moved past that. They've gotten past it. And they understand consciousness.
Yeah.
They understand it. They know what to do with it. They know what, every aspect of it. And we are not there yet.
How do you feel about the thought of ETs being here already in human form?
Yes is the answer.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's even man, I've seen the Body Snatchers, right? and the thought of that is both frightening but also very truthful.
Yeah, because there's two aspects of it.
We're talking about an intelligence level that is way beyond our own. Way beyond our own.
Is it?
Yes.
Do you think so?
Yes. I 100% believe that. Not 99%. It's way beyond. I had Lawrence Krauss on the show a few weeks ago, and one of the preeminent respected physicists on this planet. I've read his books. I've seen his stuff. Lawrence friggin' Krauss on this show. And when I bring up these subjects with Lawrence, it's like, and that part of it is fascinating to me, how you can be so involved with intelligence, with math, with physics, with the quantum world, the multiverse and entanglement and all of these grand, huge things, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know shit. He doesn't know nothing. And he's one of the brightest people on this planet.
Yeah.
But ET arrives here. What can they say to Lawrence Krauss, to Brian Greene, to Neil deGrasse Tyson, to Michio Kaku? What could they say to them that they would understand? Nothing.
I don't think there's anything they can say, but what's missing is experiences like you had. You shut your eyes, you go into meditation, and you get taken off somewhere, and you come back knowing that there's something more. You experienced it yourself. So there's nothing an ET can say to the most intelligent people on this planet. They have to experience something to understand it. And that is the difference between left and right brain. It's the difference between being spiritual or not being spiritual, because it's all about the experience. And I say to people over and over again, you can't play it being spiritual. You have to be it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But even you and my little group of evolved beings that I hang out with, the fact that we have an open mind and we can talk about these subjects and explore these subjects, and we've experienced things that are tough to explain, a lot of fun, but tough to explain, and we're trying to understand this. ET, they come here and they go, well, actually, it's done like this. Whatever it is that they say, you have never thought of it. Nobody has. Nobody. It's going to be way beyond that.
Then bring it on.
I know. Bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on.
If we're doing something wrong, please come and show us.
Well, possibly that. But I think it's simpler.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And I'm not the Dalai Lama. I'm not some wise old guy. But all we have to be shown is not the cure, not the answer. No, just that it can be.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all. And then we can go and evolve.
And that is the difference between the PhD in complexity and the PhD in simplicity. And that's what Anna is getting at. We overcomplicate everything. If we keep it simple, it will become more evolved faster than we can blink.
Yeah. 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 Yes. Yes. And it you know how fundamental that is? It sounds so basic.
It is.
But it's really the bottom line here.
Yeah. We've been conditioned to make things difficult for ourselves right from day one. You know, and it's just a very sad part of human evolution. But if we go back to basics and keep it simple, like the children in Egypt and other places around the world where they live beautiful, simple lives, that's what we need to go back to. And that's what the ETs will come and say to us. You've got to keep it simple.
I'm not giving up my guitars or my Harleys.
No, and I'm not giving up my books and my crystals and everything else. Right.
See these?
Yeah.
These sit right in front of me.
Yep.
So as I, I talk about light language or whatever, I say these things, but meanwhile, I've got crystals in front of me.
Right? Exactly. But that's your bag. Man.
What's that?
That's your bag.
If I brought a stranger into my home, somebody that doesn't know anything about me, right? Yeah. We just met or whatever it is, but they, right? And they come in to my entryway into my foyer and they look around. Yeah. I wonder what they would think.
Yeah.
Crystal skulls, piles of crystals, the pyramids, and just kind of look around and go, okay, all right. I wonder, don't you ride a Harley though? I do. Yeah. Right. I do.
Yeah.
But I think that's what is so important.
Exactly. And that's the authenticity. People come in here and they'll come into my home and they'll go, look at the crystals and the books and everything else that's in my home. But I still say the word shit.
Right. Right. Speaking of looking at the clock, I don't want to run out of time. I've got a lot of, brought up Harleys a few times tonight. It's my lifestyle. It's my thing. Obviously, I've got a certain thing that, right. I'm wearing a Tower Records London t-shirt. Yeah. I am who I am.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, those hard ass leather black motorcycle Harley, they're all into this stuff.
They are.
They don't want to talk about it with their cool Harley friends, but they'll talk about it with me.
Exactly. And they are some of the most kind-hearted people you'll ever meet.
The most beautiful. The most beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. They are what they do without most people knowing is beyond what most people would do.
Don't you feel that this will be the last question because it's a deep one. Don't you feel that being on this quest and looking for these answers is something that possibly we're not meant as humans to understand everything, and that maybe some things are just a quest, that the answer is not obtainable?
No, because I think everything's obtainable. I just believe really that if we're meant to know it, we will. If we search for it, we could be searching a lifetime. But if we open our minds up and our hearts up to everything being possible, then there's every reason why we could get the answers. Every reason. As a teacher of spirituality and the kids and everything else, Jimmy, there's nothing that I can teach anybody on this planet that they don't already know. So my role as a spiritual teacher is to facilitate their remembering. And when we allow ourselves to remember, then that's when the potential's there. That's when everything is available to us. And we may never get the answers, but I know that they're out there. It's just that we haven't found the right path to find the answers to everything. You know, and how many people say things, the words come out of their mouths and they just say, God, I don't know where that came from. Well, that I don't know where it came from is consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And if we find the root to consciousness through the human mind and through the heart, then we have the answers to everything.
I don't know. I had Callum Cooper on the show yesterday. He's great. He's amazing. And I asked him, because I started having these thoughts a couple of weeks ago. So I asked him, I'm going to ask you the same thing. If you knew the rest of your life from this moment forward, if you knew the rest of your life and how it ends, would you change anything? And it's a profound thing. Some things maybe we're not supposed to know. What about life after death? What happens on the other side?
Okay.
Do we need to know that?
No, we don't. We absolutely don't, because it's an experience. And I've said this to many people. If I knew 15 years ago what I'd be doing today, I probably wouldn't be doing it, because the task would have seemed too big.
For sure.
So what we evolve into is what we're supposed to become. And I don't know. I don't want to know what I've got left to live for however long I'm here. I don't want to know it, because I want to enjoy the journey.
Yeah. I wouldn't change a thing.
No, me neither. And all of the hard experiences I've had in my life, and there's been some pretty harsh ones, for me, they're not a burden. They were a fantastic opportunity for me to learn. And if more people looked at their experiences and said, what has this taught me? Then we'd have a much better population of this world.
When your parents say that to you when you're a kid, you don't want to hear that. It's just it's a life lesson. You're like, man, no, I don't want this. But it's absolutely just that.
Yeah.
It's a lesson.
Yeah. I've learned some incredible things about myself through negative experiences, harsh lessons, all of those things. But, you know, Anna says to me now, these aren't lessons anymore. What you're experiencing are opportunities to master life.
You may not do it. You may not master anything, but, you know, just go on that journey.
Exactly. And embrace it.
Well, I have, I've said so many times, Nicola, and I know that people go through hard stuff.
Yeah.
All right. And when I say things like, you know, think positive, the sun will come out, I have seen and experienced in my own life the darkest of the dark. Was not gifted anything. I worked for everything and I have been through crazy darkness.
Yeah.
Crazy darkness.
Yeah.
I used to drive home. And I've done everything that you can experience that is harsh in life.
Yeah.
But nothing is. There's a feeling that we've all gone through. Okay. You're pulling up to your house. It's at night, and you don't know if your electricity was turned off that day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
That's an awful feeling.
Yeah.
You've got your kids in the car.
Yeah.
And you don't know if you're going to walk in and hit the light switch and if the lights are going to be on.
Yeah.
All right. That's shitty.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But it's a lesson. And if I'm sitting here today, you know, saying these things, it's because I have been. Oh, ho.
Yeah.
Right.
I've had times, well, a particular time in my life where I would be driving home from work and life had been so dark that I knew exactly which wall I was going to drive into to end my life.
Sure.
I've been there.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
But you come out the other side with having had those thoughts and those experiences, learning from them to the degree that you embrace life and enjoy everything that's thrown at you, that you experience, good, bad, and indifferent, because that's life.
Thank you so much for being you. Thank you so much. You're absolutely wonderful. What a great conversation tonight. Where can everybody follow your work?
So they can go on to my main website, which is nicolafarmer.com. There's other websites that they can find on there for all the work that I do. And then the ICU Academy.co.uk website, where you can find out about the work with the children and how to become teachers for the children, etc. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nicola. Look forward to seeing you again and our next conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jimmy, for having me. It's been brilliant.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
Thank you so much. What a perfect night on the show. Absolutely perfect conversation. Thank you so much, Nicola. And tomorrow night, oh man, I've got to go old school here. Tomorrow night, Masadi is here. Talking about life after death. That is the show tomorrow night. It is all NDE all night long tomorrow night with Masadi. So I will see you there. And again, thank you, Nicola. Perfect night on the show. Perfect conversation. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. But for now, all I've got is Go Backly Tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go Backly Tappy.